Another episode of Ottawa Real Estate Buzz. We're into July now, and we'll be taking a look at the housing activity for the month of June for the Ottawa area and surrounding. What's to come with the interest rates. We have another announcement towards the end of this month, and whether they're going to drop it or hold it. We'll talk about that and what that means for you as a buyer and a seller. And from this point onward, we have a new way of showing you the stats. We'll be more specific per class, and you'll see what I mean by this as we get into it. So as always, please remember to like this video, to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and to click that little bell icon so you'll get notifications as soon as we make posts. Let's get going. The next interest rate announcements from Bank of Canada will be July 24th, and in my opinion, they're going to hold the rates. I think it's really dependent on our neighbors down south now to see what they're going to do, and from the Federal Reserve, what they've announced in the States because of the increase in inflation. Most likely they'll be looking at a drop at the beginning of 2025. So I think Canada is somewhat going to follow suit. I think the first initial drop was a good thing, but as for the July announcement, I feel like they will hold the rates. Nothing will happen, and perhaps the next drop might be about a 0.25 in the September meeting and announcement. And then we'll head into the new year where they'll really closely watch what the US is doing with their rates, and then they will follow suit after them. And we may see a bit higher drop, perhaps half a basis points but when the US makes a move, and Canada will follow. And then again, the US elections has a lot to do with what happens with the economy, and it's a bit of a mess down there as well, depending on who's going to be elected, and having an impact on us as well. I feel like we're at a point of change. I think for the best. Things will slowly, gradually get better in terms of rate drops, and we're already seeing that the construction activity is slowly picking up. Specifically, custom homes are happening again, and this is a positive thing as far as it goes. And for buyers, I feel like it may be the best time to get into it. Yes, the borrowing is a bit more difficult now. Rates are better now. So I think with the inventory at hand, at the same time with the rates helping you out, I think it will be the best time to get into it. Take the chance. You don't need to get into multiple bids now, which will benefit you in terms of options and perhaps negotiations and so on. For sellers, I think it is a gradual thing. Come the next announcements with the rate drop, you'll see a sudden turnaround with the activity. All of a sudden, you'll see all these buyers that have been standing on the sidelines enter the market. And when will that happen? We really don't know. It depends on the rate drops. And I believe the market activity will pick up significantly when we hit September, October, based on the next rate drop, as well as what may happen down south in terms of sentiment of when they'll be dropping their rates. So keep tuned into our videos, the stats we provide, and so on, to get a better feel for what will happen. And I feel at the moment it is the optimistic angle or perspective into the near future, as opposed to the past year and a half to 2 years of uncertainty that we've been dealing with. And from this episode onward, what we're going to do is we're going to provide you with a more specific information and stats on each category of properties, as opposed to the general that was provided to you and is provided to you from other sources. What we're doing now is for residential freeholds, we're going to give you the stats for the detached homes, for the semi-detached, and the townhouses. This way, each class is weighed differently and you'll get a better idea for what's happening. Because when you generalize things, you really don't get a feel for what's going on. If you have a single property, you really don't want to know what's happening with the townhomes. And if you have a townhome, you want to know what the probability and the stats are for that specific category and property type. So from this point on, we'll be able to provide you with that statistics, which I think it's a really good thing to provide you with the knowledge of your specific type of property that you do own or you're looking to purchase. We'll first take a look at the residential category and looking at the sale price. For the previous month and year of June 2023, for the detached single family homes, we had $875,000, the average was approximately, and now we're looking at $850,000. So that's pretty much a drop of 2.8%. And looking at the townhouses, last year it was 557,000 approximately, and now we're a drop of 0.5% at 554,000. Not a lot of change with the townhouses. And the semi-detached is 762,000 average price last year, and for June 2024 we're at $680,000. So that's a drop of almost 11%. Okay, taking at the residential new listings. For the single homes, last year, June 2023, 1,145 units, whereas we're at 1,254 units, so that's an increase of approximately 9.5%. For the townhouses, 723 last June, and we're at 685, so that's a drop of 5.3%. And the semi-detaches last year, 131 units, whereas it was 116 units. That's an approximate drop of 11.5% for the new listings. And now taking a look at the all homes for sale. So what's in the inventory for each of these classes. And for the previous year, June 2023, for the single detached homes, we had 1,322 units available, and now we have 1,941 units. So that's an increase of almost 47%. And looking at the townhouses, 588 units available last June 2023, and now we're at 808 units. That's an increase of 37%. And for the semi-detached is 133 units last year, and now 181 units. That's an increase of 38%. So it is time to buy now. There is more inventory. Buyers are still cautious. They're waiting for more perhaps rate drops, and I think that may be a bit of a miscalculation and a mistake on behalf of buyers, because as soon as the opportunity arises or the thought of approaching a property comes in your head, that's when everybody else is thinking the same thing, and then you're going to start seeing people going at it, and then we've seen it in the past with the demand, right, increasing, and perhaps we may look at instances where there may be multiple offers and so on. Looking at the total sold properties for the month of June 2023, we had 615 units. We were at 677 units. So the sold units for single detached has increased by 10%. And looking at the townhouses, 472 last year, and we're at 450 units. So that is a drop of 4.7% for the townhomes. And for the semi-detaches, 82 units sold last year, June, and we're at 80. So that's a slight drop of 2.4% for the total sold for the freeholds. Looking at the total days on the market it takes for each of these classes to sell. And last June for the single detached, we were at 34 days, where we're at 44 days. Not a lot of change, but it is an increase of 29 days, so it takes a bit longer for a single home to sell. For townhouses, 24 days. We're at 33 days this year, and we're at an increase of 37%. Whereas for semi-detaches last year in June was 41 units, and we're at 32 units. So for semi-detaches, all of a sudden are slowly becoming more in demand as far as the number of days it takes them to sell. Okay, now taking a look at the monthly supply. That's very important. How many months of supply do we have right now for each category? Last year it was 3 months for the detached homes, where we're at 4 months supply now, so that's an increase of 40%. For townhouses, 1.8, so close to 2 months supply last year, whereas it's 2.5 months now, which is an increase of approximately 39%. And for semi-detaches, it was 2 months in the previous year, where now we're close to 3 months of supply for the semi-detached homes. That's an increase of 32%. Okay, take a look at the percentage of list to sold price ratio. For single homes, it was 98.5% last year, which 98.4% this year, so that's a 0.8% drop. List to sale ratio. For townhomes, it was 99.2% last year, and it's 99%, so it's a drop of 0.8%. And for semi-detaches, it was 98.6%, whereas 99.8%. Again, it should be noted that the average prices adjust themselves based on demand. So the average price has dropped slowly, especially last year it had dropped, whereas now it's slowly increasing, and it's still, the ratio is very close to asking. All right, now take a look at the condominium market. Looking at the average sale price for the month of June 2023, we had 463,000 approximately, whereas it's 461,000. So it's a slight drop of 0.4% year over year. Not a lot of change with the condos. Looking at the new listings, we had 327 units in June. Whereas it was 393 units June 2024. That's an increase of 20%. Looking at the homes for sale, we had 389 units in June 2023, and now this year we had 680 units. That's an increase of 75%. So there's units to be picked from, and the opportunity for buyers. I think that's a good thing. Looking at the total sold units, last year 256 units, whereas this year is 209 units. There's a drop of approximately 18%. And the average days it takes a condo unit to sell, we're at 41 days previous year. Now it's increased by 32% approximately to 54 days for a condo unit to sell. And how much supply do we have for condos now? Last year it was about 3 months last June, and now we're at about 4.5 months almost supply, so it's an increase of 76%. Taking a look at the percentage of list to sale ratio, and that's 98.6% last year, and this year is 98.4%. So not a lot of change as far as the list to price ratio. Now taking a look at the rental market. As for the rental market, with the average rental price for the month of June 2024, it was $2,811, whereas last year was $2,803. So now we're back at the peak of last year, and slowly, I think gradually this will increase over time. The inventory for the rentals are higher now as well, but we are getting significant applications. So each property on average, we're getting about 8 to 10 applicants per rental property. So if you are into looking for investment properties, I feel like this is a good time to get into it now. And as far as looking for a unit to rent, I would rent sooner than later, just because of the demand, and the average rental prices will increase as well. So there you have it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me by phone, by email, by text. And as always, I love to sit down over a cup of coffee with you guys to discuss everything. And until the next episode, take care.